This one feels like deja vu with a side of stress. SNAP is finally back after the government shutdown, but the second the lights came on, Congress slid in a whole new round of cuts under that one big beautiful bill. And yes, that name is ridiculous, but let's stay focused. States are rushing to issue the missed payments, like Alabama, which said folks should have seen their benefits hit on November 14th. But here's the other shoe dropping. USDA sent out guidance that pushes a whole lot of people off SNAP immediately. Work requirements just got way tougher. Able bodied adults under 65, no dependents, you're now having to prove you're working at least 80 hours a month in school or in training. If you can't prove it, you get 3 months of benefits. That's it. Parents with kids under 14 are exempt, but once those kids hit 14, those parents are probably pulled into the work requirement pool too. And then here's the part that's blowing people right now. Groups that were always exempt no longer are. Veterans, people experiencing homelessness, young adults aging out of foster care. They now have to meet the same work rules. The only full exemption still standing is disability. Then we get to the immigration changes. This is where things get cruel real quick. Only citizens, nationals, Cuban and Haitian entrants, and COFA citizens are eligible. Green card holders facing a 5-year waiting period unless they're under 18 or have a military connection. Refugees, asylees, and trafficking survivors are losing benefits entirely. These are some of the most vulnerable groups we see accessing basic nutrition support in healthcare. So cutting them off isn't policy, it's harm. All of this took effect on November 1st. So people are already being dropped. And then from a nursing lens, food insecurity is directly tied to chronic disease progression, medication adherence, ED utilization, and mortality. Congress knows that. They passed it anyway. So that's the update. Brace yourselves because clinics, hospitals, and social workers are about to see the fallout first.
All right, boom. So we got to talk about what's going on with these SNAP benefits, the food stamps, because the game is changing and a whole lot of people are out here scrambling, crying, and panicking. But let's keep it a stack because a lot of this was coming for a long time. And what we're seeing now, this ain't just some random little policy tweak. This is a full reset of how the government is handling public assistance, and it's got people in the EBT community, the plus size community, the sit on the couch community, all in a frenzy. Why? Because now they're being told the one thing they haven't heard in a long time is if you don't work, you don't eat. Plain and simple. The Trump administration laid it out in what they're calling this big, beautiful bill. And listen, I get that name sounds goofy, but forget the title. The content of the bill is cutthroat. And listen, I want you to know because it's basically saying that if you're able bodied, meaning you're not disabled, not sick, not physically held back, and you don't have any dependents and you between the ages of 18 and 64, then guess what? You either go to work, you get into a training program, or you find somewhere to volunteer for at least 80 hours a month. Or you can say goodbye to your SNAP benefits. I don't see nothing wrong with that. In 80 hours a month, that's not even a full-time job, bruh. That's 20 hours a week. 2 shifts at McDonald's. That's a side hustle. That's weekend work. That's light. And if you can't do that, you don't qualify for. If you can't do that and you don't qualify for one of the few exemptions, like being pregnant, disabled, caring for someone full time, then after 3 months, boom, your benefits are gone. Food stamps are supposed to be a lifeline, not a lifestyle. But I want you guys to check out this next clip.
It's been made increasingly more difficult.
The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is back up and running after the shutdown, but new requirements taking effect next month are changing who can get them and the number of hours they need to work each month to qualify for help. Good evening, I'm Brendan Morano.
And I'm Kelly Finley. The passing of the recent budget bill is implementing new guidelines for those working, those with immigrant status, even veterans. WCIA 3's Tyler Hill is live in our newsroom. Tyler, these changes may catch some off guard. When do they go into effect?
Kelly, it's December 1st. Experts say that's when the clock starts for recipients to submit documentation proving they either work or volunteer at least 80 hours a month. Those participating in certain training or education programs can also qualify for assistance. Illinois Department of Human Services says proof of this and other stipulations will need to be in by February 1st, or people will begin to see their benefits end. I talked to someone who helps people apply for SNAP to better understand all the new details and find out how people should be getting this done. When should people start getting some of that
ASAP. Now, start finding your paperwork.
On December 1st, new requirements for SNAP eligibility take effect. The Illinois Department of Human Services says in the past, only adults between 18 and 54 had to work a minimum of 80 hours a month.
Now, 18 to 64-year-olds have to prove that they're working or volunteering or in a program.
IDHS says previously work requirements did not apply to veterans, young adults who grew up in foster care, and people experiencing homelessness. Now they will, with some exceptions.
Because you're a caretaker, because you do have a disability, because you're pregnant, if you don't have anything to submit to them or show them that you meet this exemption, then those benefits are going to be cut off after 3 months.
And like I said, food stamps are supposed to be a lifeline, not a lifestyle. But people are living off this stuff for years. Like it's part of the retirement plan or something. Like every month the government's supposed to reload their EBT card just because they exist? No. This was designed for people in crisis. People who fell on hard times. People trying to get back on their feet. But what we got instead is a whole community of folks, some, not all, but enough, who refuse to work and just live off the system like it's free lunch forever. And now that the government is finally saying, hold up, you got to actually do something. People acting like it's the end of the world. And listen, some of these people are not just out here struggling. Some of them are choosing this lifestyle. If you don't believe me, I'm going to show you guys another video.
Devastated, actually.
Continuing coverage now on the aftermath of the federal government shutdown and the new eligibility requirements for food assistance benefits.
Well, if you are what the government calls able-bodied, you could lose access to SNAP. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar telling us what those requirements are and brings us reaction tonight.
Government officials say if you are 18 to 65 years old, you don't have a disability, you don't live with kids under the age of 14, and you don't work at least 20 hours a week, you'll likely lose your SNAP benefits. Some people on SNAP tell me they don't know if they'll have enough money to afford groceries.
That's some bull.
Nelson Scott is on the verge of losing access to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. He is 38, not disabled, doesn't have any kids, doesn't go to school, and doesn't have a job. Those are just some of the reasons he's no longer eligible for SNAP benefits. How much did SNAP help you?
It helped me a lot. You gotta get $292 a month.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture crackdown is led by President Trump, who signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law in July. The government shutdown stalled the November 1st deadline for implementation. However, these changes are still coming up.
We help.
Sydney Anderson is the Senior Director of Nutrition Advocacy with the Tennessee Justice Center.
Because of rules like this, we can see individuals that are going to be forced to skip meals.
She points out senior citizens and children between the age of 15 and 18 will be most impacted. Rick Williams is a conservative political analyst.
A 15 or 16-year-old can take care of their stuff at home while you go work. There's no reason you can't be working. There are plenty of jobs out there.
Scott tells me, as a convicted felon, getting a job isn't easy.
I will get one if y'all give me one. Y'all be felony friendly and hire us.
The Tennessee Department of Human...
Yeah, what, bro? Hold on, bro. Hold on. Go back. Let's go back.
I will get one if y'all give me one.
I will get one if y'all give me one, but you don't want to have the energy to go get one, but you want to have the energy to go up to welfare to get SNAP benefits. That's what I mean, family, by people chose this as a lifestyle. Because you got dudes out here, well, he's 30 something, but you got dudes out here that's 30, 40, in their 30s and 40s, no kids, no job, no school, nothing. They've been living off of taxpayers like it's their birthright. And this 38-year-old man, perfectly healthy, no kids, not in any program, is mad that his $292 a month in food stamps is about to disappear. And I'm like, bro, what? That's not oppression. That's a wake-up call. You're not a victim. You just don't want to work. That's why he over here talking about, they give me one. Look, I don't know if it's because I've been around my older folks, my OGs, we like to call them in the black community, or just, my grandparents, being raised with them growing up. And I'm just old school, young with an old soul, but with Christian values. I have known that it said in the Bible that if you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't work, you don't eat. Okay? It didn't say nothing in that Bible in regards of, oh, the government give you food stamps and they give you food to eat. Now, I'm not against helping people when they down and they need help. They need help to get back on their feet. See, I'm going to use this example. See, we have been blessed with a tree, right? But we had to put the work in to basically chop down that tree to create a chair, to create a table, with the mentality that I want to work and I want to earn this privilege of having a chair and a table versus, oh, well, it's a tree. So that means they need to make me a chair. So if you give me a chair, I'll gladly use one. But since you didn't give me a chair and I don't want to work to create the chair, then it's up to you to provide me with one. That sounds crazy, right? We've been blessed with a beautiful mind. He's healthy as ever. You know how many people are on their deathbed wishing that they can walk like him and talk like him and breathe and have no health issues? And it's not like he's not smart because he don't have no dependents, because obviously, kids cost money. And you got to be able to financially take care of them. But the thing is, I'm coming at is his mentality. He has enabling behavior where he's being enabled by the government in regards of getting these food stamps and feel like I don't have to work because the government owe me, and they owe me to give me a job. They owe me to give me food. And if they don't want to give me a job, then they're going to have to give me food. That's entitled. And we can't have the government enabling people when he's able to work. And also he's not even putting into the system. And the people that does work, the average Joe American that pays taxes, and the more individuals like him with this mentality that gets on the SNAP program, the ones who are working are paying for the ones who don't want to work. And then the thing is, if the ones that are working get their hours cut or they need a little bit of help from SNAP, they can't even get it. But they keep paying into the system with the little bit of monies they got, and they figure out how to make it work. And they can't even get help from SNAP. But this man say, I'm going to choose this lifestyle to do nothing and not go work, and they give him stuff. I would rather help somebody that's willing to earn and work for putting food on the table and show proof they doing all they can, versus somebody that just saying, I ain't going to do nothing, give it to me. That's how backwards the system is. And that's why you have this guy sitting here, this man, respectfully. Oh, I'll work a job if they give me one. Bro, you have so many resources available for you. You're not oppressed. Like, bro, you could go to unemployment. They'll give you a job. They'll send you to work to one of their apprentice programs. You within your state. You have workforce program where they help you interview and help you get a job and tell you jobs that are available. Even transport you to the job. So you want free food without effort. And people defending this behavior are part of the problem. Because if you really believe a grown man with two working legs, two working arms, no kids to take care of, and zero health issues, should be able to sit on his behind every day, do nothing while the rest of us go to work, pay taxes, and fund his lifestyle, you're lost. You brainwash by comfort and entitlement. And that's not compassion, that's dysfunction. And that's how you create weak men and broken systems. Because let's be honest, we all know somebody like that. We got a cousin, or uncle, or whatever you want to call it, a family member, that neighbor who ain't had a job in like 10 years, but always got a fresh outfit and a pack of cigarettes and the loudest opinions about politics. And now they mad because they actually got to prove they're doing something. Come on now. Don't let them hit you with the but I'm a felon excuse either. I know felons with jobs. And you actually have free education in the prison system. You actually have resources available for you there. And what they call it, good behavior, where you're able to get out earlier if you have good behavior, right? I know dudes who did real time, came out and got within the warehouse, worked at USA Jobs, one of the big corporations that deal with packing and foods and driving forklifts, and they start earning again. So when I hear dudes say, "Oh, I can't get hired," it ain't that you can't, it's that you won't. Because yeah, it might not be easy. You might not land the dream job, but that's what happens when you mess up. But you rebuild. That's the beauty and that's the opportunity that's the beauty of America, right? That's the beauty of opportunities, right? Being a man means providing. It means pulling your own weight. And the government was not supposed to be your mama. You a grown man depending on Uncle Sam to buy your groceries while you sit at home all day. Nah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That ain't manhood, bro. That's boyhood. That's arrested development. And we wonder why these generations are so soft, because we raised a whole culture that thinks responsibility is optional. Now, I know some of y'all watching this think I'm being harsh, like I'm shaming the poor. No, I'm calling out the lazies. That's the difference. Poor people working hard deserve all the help and support we could give. But lazy people who can work and choose not to, that's not what this system is for. And now it's finally catching up to them, because this new bill ain't just clean the house, it's changing the whole game. Veterans used to be exempt, not anymore. Young people who aged out of foster care, you got to go to work. Homeless individuals, they in the mix too. The only folks who still fully exempt are disabled and some caretakers. And even then, if you can't prove it, if you don't submit the paperwork, you're done. By December 1st, you heard them. And for the immigrant community, it's even worse, because green card holders, you got to wait 5 years, right? But when you look at it, and that's just flat out cut, you know what I'm saying? So just imagine, right? Like from an immigrant standpoint, you're fleeing your country to get to the U.S. and the government says, yeah, you're on your own now, figure it out, right? Well, if you really look at it, you have opportunity more than your own country. That's why you flew here. So people try to make it harsh, but obviously if you didn't see opportunity here and there weren't opportunities to have a better living, then you wouldn't have came to the US, right? So the US already is a privilege to be here for all of us, even Americans, the land of the free, right? We have many privileges and many opportunities only if you are willing to put in the work to do it. To embrace it. Right? So, I'm just going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, because I don't want people to be, oh, immigrants should come over here and they can't get no help. They already getting help. They have the opportunities here. They here legal. If they a legal immigrant, they already have opportunity just like the rest of us. And you got to work just like the rest of us. Right? But I just find it that the Biden administration had made some immigrants so entitled, illegal immigrants entitled, to the point that things have been misconstrued. So we got to iron this back out and let people know the rules are the rules and get some full understanding here out of respect for Americans and taxpayers and legal immigrants. I mean legal immigrants and things like that, right? Gotta have a fair system and we got a clean system, we got a clean house. We gotta make sure we operating right and the law of the land stands. So I keep you on that. I'll leave you on that one. On that note, family, peace.